Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. A quote from Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. Welcome to Richersoul, your journey to a more purposeful, intentional, amazing life. Where are you going to go and how are you going to get there? Let's figure that out together. At the core is financial well-being to be able to do what you want, when you want, how you want. It's about personal freedom. Some quick announcements first. I'm going to do 3 more episodes on each of the areas to creating a richer, more meaningful life. After that, we're going to find experts in all these areas and have them on the podcast to dig deeper into subjects. I would like to get episodes out once a week. I'm also going to offer a free 2-hour coaching session to anyone who'd be willing to have a session recorded and released as a podcast episode. I believe it's important for you to hear stories from other people, see how they struggle and overcome their financial issues. Don't worry, we can change your name, keep personal information off the recording. If you're interested, please email me at rocky@richersoul.com. Also, if you have feedback, please do the same. The biggest obstacle in most people's lives that prevent them from living a richer life is themselves, our internal mindset, the stories we tell ourselves, and the limitations we put on our ability. What mindsets are you in? What scripts and rules do you have, and how do they prevent you from success? Let's just call these scripts and rules what they are. Doubts, fears, worries. We all have them and they hold us back from being what we can be. First thing first, there are 2 big mindsets out there. One is a fixed mindset that's unwilling to change. The fact that you're listening to this tells me you have a growth mindset. You're willing to learn and try something new. It may not be easy, but you're willing to learn and move ahead. I don't know the percentage breakdown between the 2 mindsets, but I would guess there are far more people with a fixed mindset. One way to judge that is by how few people read books after they finish school. Let's take a look at some of the reading stats. 1/3 of high school grads never read a book after high school. 42% of college grads will never read a book after they graduate. 80% of U.S. families did not buy a book this year. Hopefully, many of them borrowed some from the library for free. Clearly, these stats aren't great. Most of these mindsets we have were formed when we were children. We were told no 1,000,000 times, or maybe we failed at something and we never wanted to try again. Lots of people have had bad parents, teachers, or coaches that put more doubt in them. We created stories about life so that it would make sense to us. The stories help us to justify our bad decisions. Things like money is evil is a classic example, and thus makes us say we don't need to worry about it. It doesn't have to be this way. The first step is to examine what limiting beliefs we have. What are those stories we tell ourselves that are just not so? What rules do we think we must follow? What obligations are we carrying and why? Many people have a tremendous amount of limiting beliefs around money and life. Those voices in your head that keep saying the rich are evil, you will never succeed, you will never lose weight, you're not good enough. It comes down to fears and doubts. On top of that stress and difficulty, everyone wants money, but so often we don't talk about money or how best to use it as a tool. We learn these habits as children, and if we don't question them, they overcome us. The mind loves to conserve energy, and the way it does this is running routines, basically habits throughout the day. We don't often think about these things unless something causes us to shift. You need to be conscious about setting those thoughts in your mind, and you need to overcome yourself because we don't like change. It causes fear and doubt. How accurate are the stories we tell ourselves? Are they really true? Our habits drive our day, and most often we just follow them. Do you think about your morning routine? Or do you somehow just get through the coffee, shower, brushing teeth, and getting to work and wonder how it all happened? The routines do change when big life events occur. If we move, get married, have our first kid, start a new job. This is why marketers love when these events happen, because they know you are willing to make other changes in other parts of your life and buy their stuff. However, we can create our own choice to make a big change and start examining the habits and why we choose them. The best way to create change is to have a daily reminder that you look at multiple times to change your scripts and overcome yourself. A note to ourselves. I'm teaching my daughter to drive right now. You know how nerve-wracking teaching a teenager to drive can be. I have to think about how to explain to her when to begin the turn and how to do it. As we drive, I point out stop signs and lights, give directions about where to turn, and constantly give feedback on her position on the road. She is focusing on all these things, and it gets a little bit overwhelming for her at times. Meantime, I'm ripping the handle off the door. If you've ever taught a teenager to drive, I'm sure you get this situation. However, when I get in the car to drive myself, I'm busy thinking about other things. I don't focus on all these decisions and thoughts of driving. They have all become habits, and somehow I get from my home to my destination without much of a thought of driving. Our days and lives run in the same way. Unless we change the patterns and habits and specifically focusing on them, nothing will change in our lives. You have to make a conscientious decision to make that change, and you have to replace a bad habit with a good habit, or you will drift back in a short period of time. People say that to make a change takes 3 weeks, maybe even 66 days or 3 months. Whatever the number, you have to be intentional in your change and keep at it until it becomes your new natural habit. I work out 3 times a week. It's a natural habit. It's just ingrained into my life. It took me a long time to engrave that habit, and I had accountability partners and rewards to make it so. Now I don't need them. There's a tremendous amount of psychology research behind how trigger points in training can make people behave certain ways in certain situations. Let's dig into the habits a little more and see the bigger impact. Have you ever noticed that rich people see things differently? There are actually rich habits and poor habits. Let's review a few of these habits and see on which side you fall. The first of each pair is a rich habit. The second of each pair is a poor habit. Rich habit. I'm careful of how I speak. Poor habit. I just say what I feel. Rich habit. I exercise regularly. Poor habit. I'm a couch potato. Rich habit. I network and meet new people all the time. Poor habit. I have my group and I stick to it. Rich habit. I read books every month that help me grow. Poor habit. I watch TV every day. Rich habit. I save money, live below my means, and pay myself first. Poor habit. I live paycheck to paycheck. There's nothing left over. I make the minimum payments on my debt. Rich habit. I watch what I eat and I make sure it's nutritious and healthy, and I control proportions. Poor habit. I eat processed foods, and I don't worry about how much I eat. Rich habit. I've written goals and I work towards them. Poor habit. I watch people score goals on TV. Rich habit. I volunteer on a regular basis. Poor habit. I expect other people to do community service. Rich habit. I have an optimistic outlook. Poor habit. Life is pretty dreary. I never get a break. One other big mindset that rich people have is they have the ability to delay gratification. If you can wait for tomorrow to spend, or learn to wait for the deal or the opportunity to appear instead of rushing forward, you have the ability to create wealth. Notice something about these? They all started with I. See, that's where the focus needs to be, on the biggest obstacle in your life, the reflection in the mirror. You can't change other people. You can only change yourself in the way you react to the situation. I heard it best said that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. People react quite differently to the same situation, and many times it's all based on their perspective and where they come from. Let's face it, you're special and different, so it's only natural that you respond differently than someone else may to the same situation. By the way, I don't know your situation, so just don't follow some guy on a podcast blindly. Check and confirm and make sure the advice works for you. I can't give you specific advice if I don't know your specific situation. By the way, can you do me a favor? Remember to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes so you know when a new episode is released. And if you like what you hear, please leave a review or rate the show. It helps to get the word out. And lastly, if you know someone who can benefit from this information, please share the podcast with them. Also, if you have a question or comment, or if I get something wrong, please email me at rocky@richersoul.com. Now, back to your mindset. Speaking of our situations and how best to address them, I heard about a man who lived down in the Caribbean fishing. Now, this guy was a master fisher. He literally could cast his pole into the water and immediately he would haul in fish. So in no time, he had enough to eat for the day and some to sell. He led a great life, enjoying his family, sitting by the crystal clear ocean and enjoying the simple life in the tropical breeze. Until a businessman showed up with some advice. See, the businessman saw opportunity. He saw how talented he was in catching fish and how he could make so much more money. So he asked, "Why don't you catch more fish?" The fisherman replied, "I have enough for my needs. Why get more?" The businessman asked, "But what do you do with the rest of your time?" "Why, I spend it with my wife and kids, read, help out with the community, enjoy the cool water, and the relaxing breezes. This place is beautiful." The businessman replied, "I'm a successful businessman, and I can help you be great. You have an amazing talent to catch fish. You could spend a little more time catching fish. You could use that money to buy a boat." To which the fisherman replied, "For what purpose?" "Well, with a boat, you could catch more fish and make more money and buy a fleet of boats." To which the fisherman replied, "For what purpose?" "Well, then you would have a steady supply of fish and you could vertically integrate and build a fish processing plant on the mainland." To which the fisherman replied, "For what purpose?" "You could control the product, processing, and distribution and create your own brand." To which the fisherman replied, "For what purpose?" "Well, with 20 years of hard work, you could create an IPO, cash out, and you'd be rich beyond your dreams." To which the fisherman asked, "For what purpose?" "Well, then you could retire to a small coastal village, spend time with your wife and kids, read, help out the community, enjoy the cool water and relaxing breezes in a beautiful place." Seems like the fisherman got it right up front. He was living a simple life he loved and what others wanted, and spent so much time and effort striving to get. I get it. I spent many years working to buy bigger and better stuff, and now I want it all gone because the obligations it brings. How much richer if I had skipped all the steps and done what made me happy. Create the life that feels good on the inside, not the one that looks good on the outside. Don't let other people or desires move you off your path to what you want. It's important to know what you want, though, or others' dreams become your dreams, even when they are not, where we go down a path only to look around and say, "Hey, why am I here? This isn't what I expected." This is why that life plan is so important, because you, like the fisherman, know your purpose. You know where you're going. How do we do this? By creating the habits that allow you to be happy. Live the life you want and create security and freedom. When you see the bigger picture from your life plan, it becomes easier to question what you are doing and say, "Is this habit serving me?" A simple trick is to create small wins. Let's face it, small losses hold us back, and small wins will also push us forward. On the drive into work, that one person who cuts us off and puts us in the bad mood, and it seems to grow throughout the day. Why not spin the table and find small wins that allow us to grow and be happy? In this case, set the bar low, and I mean really low, and keep jumping over it. Let's say you have a goal to start working out. So for the first step of working out, just say, "I'm going to find a gym that I'd like to join." That's it. The next bar, "I'm going to go and have them show me around." That's it. Small step. Next bar, "I'm going to figure out a routine to do." Another small step. Next bar, "I'm going to get clothes and a water bottle and a bag, so I'm ready." Next bar, "I'm going to have everything ready to work out the night before and go the next day." Next bar, "I'm going to show up at the gym and try the routine with limited weights. Maybe I'll just do one of the exercises, 5 minutes and leave." Each of these bars is a tiny hurdle you can jump and win versus I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week, I'm going to lift and run, and then you fail to show up one day because life interferes and you give up, never to return. That's what most people do. If they ever get off the couch, that is. Create the wins. They fuel your success. Small steps forward add up faster than you think. For example, reading 15 minutes a day turns into 1,000,000 words a year. The person who creates those tiny habits wins and just keeps raising the bar an inch will have far more success over time than the person who creates a big goal and never follows through. Let me repeat this. The person who creates those tiny habits wins and just keeps raising the bar an inch will have far more success over time than a person who creates a big goal and never follows through. The compounding curve works with habits too. Today's challenge: what tiny habit can you adopt and win at to help move you forward toward your bigger life plan? Remember, something small. Write it down and accomplish it. Okay, it's not that simple, but here's some help. Google BJ Fogg, F-O-G-G, and Tiny Habits. He is an expert from Stanford, and he has free material to help you with creating tiny habits that can lead to big changes. You already have most of the information. What you need to do is make habits to do the things you want to do the way you want them done. You can systematize habits as well and work on behaviors that will create the outcomes you want. Fogg bases the habit on doing something after a habit you normally do. So, after I brush my teeth, I'm going to floss one tooth. He starts with just flossing one tooth. Remember that low bar? Speaking of which, did you hear Science Now is reporting that flossing's useless? Remember, don't believe everything you are told. Now, naturally, after flossing one tooth every day, you just start to expand, and pretty soon it becomes a habit, and you're flossing all your teeth. As you start to change your life and improve, be prepared for hate. People are going to start giving you a hard time when you make changes. They don't like it. It's not your problem, though, it's theirs. Let them be worried about it. You just need to ignore it and keep going. Let's face it, if you lose 30 pounds, others are going to get jealous, and they will tell you that you've lost enough. This is not your issue, so don't make it yours. Every day we have a choice. We can live for our dreams, or we can work for someone else so they can live for their dreams. Too often we get caught up in the grind of our life instead of the big picture. Make a habit of sitting down and examining your life and if your actions are in line with what you want. In business, they have a saying, some people are busy working in the business while successful people are working on the business. That means taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture of our lives, making the small changes that over time will compound and allow us to live a much greater life. If we don't spend time directing our mind and dreaming of the bigger vision and start working towards it, nothing will change. Did you ever notice that many people who win the lottery are broke, divorced, and unhappy 10 years after winning? It's because they never fixed their mindset. They thought the money would solve their problem, and it doesn't. You have to fix yourself and the mindset you have. We started with, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, a quote from Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. So what is that life you conceive, and do you believe you can achieve it? All you need to do is take one step today and another tomorrow. Just as the compounding curve works for investing and can turn a single penny into massive amounts of wealth, it works in every other part of your life. Your tiny habit creates change, and small wins compound and grow. The goal is to overcome our biggest obstacle, the reflection in the mirror. In order to do that, you're going to need to make sacrifices. What are you willing to give up so you can have a life of freedom and the life you want? Certain things can propel us and give us courage and strength to move forward. I'm sure you've heard so many stories of people who are facing massive adversity and they overcame it. I know people want security, they want to be safe, and stepping up creates fear. I'll leave you with this quote from Dwight D. Eisenhower. If you want security, go to prison. There you're fed, clothed, given medical care, and so on. The only thing lacking is freedom. So let me lay out some steps for you to take that I learned from Ty Lopez, who reads a book a day and is a serial entrepreneur who believes in creating freedom. Number 1, ask a question. What are you trying to fix in your life? Number 2, do some background research. What have other smart people done to fix it? If you're not sure, a book can help you find this answer. Number 3, construct a hypothesis. What experiment are you going to try? Number 4, test your hypothesis by doing an experiment. Put the test into action. It's okay if you fail. It's a test. Number 5, analyze your data and draw a conclusion. Read the obvious signs. Number 6, communicate your results to other smart people. Bounce your conclusions off of a multitude of counselors. That means test it out and see what other people are doing and how they're working. Number 7, adjust based on what you learned and start over. Tweak your hypothesis, go back to step 3, and continue moving. There is no right answer, and you have your own special desires, needs, and wants, so you need to figure it out for yourself. These small tests can help us create change. Before we end, I do want to talk a little bit about how we spend our money. The key to success in step 2 was to live on less than you earn. And this is a hard one, and we tend to make decisions without looking at the big picture. What does this mean? It means when we go to make a buying decision, should I buy this new iPhone or go out to a nice dinner, we think about the decision and what we're going to buy, or how we would suffer without it. Should I go to dinner with friends and spend $100, or should I stay home and sulk alone? We are framing the purchase incorrectly. The correct question should be, should I go out to dinner or buy this iPhone, or should I save the money and be one step closer to freedom? Is there another way I can get the iPhone without spending so much? Or maybe another phone that's good enough? Can I invite my friends over for dinner and spend half as much and still enjoy their company? Too often the decision is, should I buy this, yes or no? And the no side doesn't seem to have much of a positive value, and so we overspend. We're all hypocrites and we all do stupid things. It's just what being human is all about. Don't fret over it. We all want X, but the reality is most of us are not willing to do the work, make the sacrifices, and stick to the plan. The main reason we really don't want X, we want what X provides. The emotions, the fame, recognition, and so forth. Don't stress over this or over what others have. We can only control the way we choose to react and behave, and it's hard enough to overcome ourselves. So, today's challenge, go create that tiny goal, something to fix or change, a tiny hurdle, jump over it, win, and celebrate. And then raise the bar an inch and do it again. At the end of the day, we can't control anything but ourselves, and the only person responsible for this is us. The choice is now yours. Before we close out this session, I want you to understand my role. It's a dual role. Part 1, conductor. Not the guy on the train, the one who stands in front of the orchestra. Too often we have so many competing priorities in the 8 areas that we talked about. And today, finding a way to keep harmony in all of those. Many times work jumps on us, or our family pulls us one way, or our finances go south. Having someone to help look over all those pieces and help us find balance is the job of a conductor. The second role is Sherpa. If you want to climb Mount Everest, you need a few Sherpas, guides who know the way and can help you get to the top. In both of these roles, it's you who has to do the work. I'm just here to educate, guide, and teach and show you a path. Since I don't know you personally, you need to make sure this is the right path for you. In our next episode, we're going to chat about psychological influences that may prevent you from achieving the goals you want. Till next time.